Hello and welcome to episode 5. This week my guest is Holly Radford-James, producer at Mac Makes Music, based at the Midland Arts Centre in Birmingham. Mac Makes Music is an award-winning programme providing innovative music-making opportunities for children and young people who have limited access to music provision. They are really like a super hub of music, and I think possibly the blueprint for the future of inclusive music making and education in England. Holly has been involved in inclusive music projects for the last 5 years and is really passionate about Mac Makes Music and the opportunities they offer. Phil Mullen from episode 2 is a consultant and trainer for Mac Makes Music. And if you listen to episode 2, you'll know that Phil is one of the world's great authorities on inclusive music making. It was great to catch up with Holly and really find out a lot more about what Mac Makes Music are up to and the kind of work that they're doing. And it's really inspiring to hear the opportunities that they are offering. And as I say, I really hope that their work is an inspiration and a blueprint for music hubs around England, some of whom are not offering genuine inclusive opportunities for our young people. Anyway, here's Holly and Mac Makes Music. So Mac Makes Music, you're based in Birmingham at the Midland Arts Centre, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right. So the Midlands Arts Centre is it's a multi-arts venue. So we've got theatre spaces, we've got a cinema, we've got pottery, jewellery making studios, and It's really it was built in the 60s, I think, and it was originally built as a children and young people's venue. So one of the cinema that we use now used to be at the squash courts for the children back in the 60s. Okay. And we've got one of our smaller scale theatre spaces, which is quite nice for sort of quite intimate gigs, about sort of 80-seater. That used to be the puppet theatre back in the day as well. So it's really got quite a nice sort of history behind the building, and it's always been about trying to get the community and everybody to access arts and to, find the joy and all the other benefits that come from making art or seeing other artists doing their work as well. And so we've got we've got a big outdoor arena which has come into its own really in the COVID landscape as well. So
fantastic.
That's actually our sort of our largest space. And then we've got lots of different sort of making studios and smaller sort of music practice rooms and an indoor theatre as well and some gallery spaces. So it really is as sort of all the art forms come there. And we're based in a really lovely park in Birmingham, so we've got kind of really nice views, and we get a lot of people walking in, which is really nice because people kind of stumble across art and different things that happen. They might pop in for a coffee but actually go and see an exhibition just by walking through the building, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's like that kind of capture I think is so important, to be able to have that, an access point through something else that leads you down down that rabbit hole of exploration is fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah. And so Mac Makes Music, the programme that I run, so Mac itself, we're actually celebrating our 60th anniversary this year, and Mac Makes Music, it's also our 10th anniversary of that specific programme.
Okay.
And we've sort of been funded through youth music throughout that time, really, and really all started with trying to support young people with disabilities to make music, and it's kind of expanded and evolved ever since then. So now we've got quite a large strategic grant where we're working with 5 music education hubs in the West Midlands, so Birmingham, Coventry, Soundabout, Solihull and Worcestershire, and we kind of support on 3 different levels. So strategic consultancy, where we work and commission specialists like Dr. Phil Mullen to support the hubs with inclusion strategies and really sort of looking at that much more higher level strategic, pinning things down and making the changes within policies and procedures and senior management. And then we do some training, and we've got a wonderful team of freelance musicians that go off and deliver lots of different activities all around the West Midlands, which is my favourite bit. Definitely getting to work with young people and doing lots of music making. So we do all sorts, and it's really, our approach is all just based on being young person centred, so working with what they're interested in and doing everything around their needs, and being creative as well. So I really support young people to find their own voice and create their own music as well. So yeah, often within a session you might not hear many covers or things that you recognize, but it's
Fantastic.
all like new music that young people have created and developed themselves, and whether that's, I don't know, soundscapes right the way through to, sort of more traditional pop songs that young people are creating, or we work with a lot of young people who are interested in drill and grime and doing lots of rapping as well. So it's a really eclectic mix of music that takes place and happens, and all sorts of settings that we work within. Special schools, pupil referral units, we work with youth offending services, we work out in sort of community centres with families that come. We work at MAC where we run bands and inclusive choirs. So yeah, a real nice sort of mixture of things that happen.
That's fantastic. And I see you also run an open mic. I was looking on the website.
Yeah.
Which I love. I mean, I run open mics. I run 10 a month actually. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with open mics. There's something so, I don't know, something very beautiful about offering that space to people. So it must be amazing having a young person's open mic specifically for them. It must be amazing.
Yeah, we've seen just wonderful moments of young people sometimes performing for the very first time and really, yeah, experiencing the wonder of being in a sort of a safe, supportive environment with people offering feedback and love and support and encouragement. So we kind of, I guess our sort of twist on the open mic is that it is very supported. So it's sort of closed in terms of the audience as family and friends. So it's quite small scale, and there's the option for young people to either perform live or to share sort of recorded performances or pieces as well. So if people are really nervous and they don't want to do something live, but they're a fantastic producer, or they've recorded their bits at home, they can still share, and it's equally valued amongst everybody there.
Love that idea.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and it's meant that young people who wouldn't have got involved before have done, and then some have eventually progressed on to performing live as well, and that's just been the stepping stone that they needed to be able to do that. We started that online actually during one of the lockdowns, and we've now doing a mixture of online and in-person stuff at MAC with that. But yeah, it's been really nice and something we'll definitely be carrying on because it's such a lovely event.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the online stuff has just has allowed the continuation of sharing of things through the lockdowns, and I guess now people are realising that it's like we're speaking now, over a Zoom call. It's having those opportunities just to keep in touch with people and keep working online. I think we've all sort of woken up to how this is a way that we can continue work, whatever happens. We always have opportunities to work with each other and actually, stay creative and stay in touch and keep producing amazing things for people.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the other things that I found really interesting with the online world is we developed a partnership with Soundabout, who are sort of experts at music making with people with profound and multiple learning disabilities, and we sort of launched an inclusive choir online during lockdown together. And what was so interesting was that actually a lot of the families were feeding back to us when they were supporting young people with really profound and complex needs, was that they've been able to get involved with more things than ever before by the online space, because there's no travel issues, there's none of the logistical problems, there's no worries about sort of feeding, changing spaces, when you breaks to take medicine and all of that. That was really interesting. So people being able to access stuff that they hadn't before, or different things, or more opportunities. So obviously I think there's still amazing things that we can do in person that you can't do online, but there's real benefits to
of course. But I guess it's just knowing, we know now that whatever happens, we still have ways of working, and people are now really plugged into that, and they're ready for it. And I think that's really exciting. Just to know that music will never stop. You can't turn it off. It's I mean, during the lockdowns, in a very small way, I kind of built a little community of people who came and sort of were watching my Facebook gigs that I did, and I did like 50 songs a day at the beginning of last year, and just having that little community of people who were not only coming to listen to the music, but also chatting with each other, and that was so important.
Yeah, I'd say with the inclusive choir that we did online, or still do, that's exactly the same thing. It felt like a real community developed, and you'd log on and children would be noticing when their friends weren't there. They'd never met in real life, but they'd be saying, "Oh, where's so and so? They're not here today." And
Amazing.
people sort of unmuting and saying, "How are you?" And like, "Oh, I can see in the background that you've decorated your house," and really sort of that community feel. And actually, last Saturday was the first time we got all of the different groups from the West Midlands Inclusive Choir together in real life, and
Wow.
it was so seamless in terms of people. They've known each other for maybe a year and a bit online, but coming into a place in person, it was, "Oh, how are you?" And it was kind of this weird, like it hadn't been online. It's the relationships were
That's incredible,
real, which is really lovely to see.
I always say to people, they say to me, "What do you do?" I say, "Well, the music," but the music's a part of it, isn't it? It's the music's the way in to get to all this other stuff, all the social aspects, the way people grow confidence, the way people, just watching people grow,
Absolutely, yeah. And you mentioned the sort of social and personal, and for us, that's musical, social, and personal sort of development of the young people are all equally as important as each other. And often, like you say, the music is kind of like a vehicle to supporting other changes, and things that we report on to use music for the funding that we've got are like self-efficacy, self-esteem, confidence, interpersonal skills of the young people. And actually, when we get feedback, it is usually those type of things that are highlighted most from either sort of schools or parents and carers. We've had things where children might have cried every morning at the school gates before going into school because they really struggled with that. But on a music day, when we're in one of our team are in, they'd be running through the gates, and it really transformed their school experience. And every morning, instead of being traumatic, started to become really enjoyable, and that helped with attendance overall. And there's so many wonderful benefits to music, as well as music just being fantastic for music's sake as well.
Yeah, it is extraordinary, and we were saying before about that kind of perceived division between the commercial world of music making and the function of music in society, and I think it's so important to, which is why I wanted to do this podcast, is to keep track of keep in mind what is the function of music, what does it do, what's it capable of, it's where does it belong in society and in our personal lives and in the wider community. It's incredible stuff, right?
Absolutely,
and it's great to celebrate that.
Completely. And I think a lot of young people, it's really important to be able to share the work that you and I do, because that is a career pathway for people. And if they don't know that there's different parts of the music industry other than what they see in the mainstream media, then we aren't going to get the diverse workforce that we really, really would like to in the future. So, making sure young people know there are other roles, producer roles like me, like, music leader roles, working in all different settings where, there's this wonderful work to be done. We've got to definitely spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. So what have you got coming up? What's your sort of program going on in spring and summer?
Well, we're kind of a bit more of the same, really. So we're carrying on with our West Midlands Inclusive Choir, where we've got sort of monthly rehearsals in Birmingham, Coventry, Soundabout, Solihull, and Worcestershire, and online rehearsals. We'll have some open mics coming up as well. We'll be back in some of the pupil referral units that we work at. We'll be doing some more youth offending work as well. That's more sort of one-to-one, working closely with young people. And lots of lyric writing, songwriting, production with them. Carrying on we've got a program called Creative Sounds, which is very young person centered. It's just the idea of that there's a sort of out of school opportunity for young people to come together and to be supported by a professional musician and music leader to create music in a way that they would like to, and whatever music that they would like to create is the right music. So it's kind of we've got, again, 5 of those groups around the region, and they all look very, very different because there's very, very different individuals that attend those, but those will be carrying on next term as well.
Fantastic.
We've got a couple of performances coming up as well. So the West Midlands Inclusive Choir will be performing at Symphony Hall as one of the local music services gala performances, which would be great. Really lovely experience to be on such a amazing stage and to be part of a mainstream program as well, which is really good.
Absolutely,
So,
great.
lots of things.
And are you doing anything
up
for the 60th celebrations?
Mac is definitely, yeah, and Mac Makes Music will be part of that. We, because of the Commonwealth Games in the local area, we're kind of leaving celebrations to later on in the year, so we're not we're not competing with the Commonwealth
There's a lot
Games.
around there. There's Edgbaston Cricket Ground as well. There's all those things local to you, isn't there? So it's
Edgbaston Cricket Ground are our next door neighbours. So
fantastic.
lots of sort of crossover events.
My two favourite things, cricket and music.
There we go, right next door. You should come and visit.
I must come visit. Yeah, well, my brother lives in Stratford upon Avon actually, so it's not a million miles away. So I should come up and do a whistle stop to come up to you guys and be great.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. We're doing an exhibition of 60 pieces of I wouldn't say art, but sort of memories or items that members of the public or people who've been to Mac over the years have kind of offered, and they're being curated at the moment. So we've submitted some bits from our in-house band Switch. That's kind of been a long-term group of young people with learning disabilities or autism who've made their own music, and they're proper rock stars. They've taken them to London and they've gigged, and so there's a couple of items, and I won't say what they are because it'd be great if people could come to the exhibition when that's open, but there'll be some pieces in there amongst lots of other things that other people have submitted as well. So it's kind of 60 pieces that I guess are the kind of collective memories of what Mac has been to everybody over the past 60 years. So that'd be really nice as well.
Fantastic. That's great. And I love, just finally, I love that thing that, that Phil Mullen says is you must work with whatever the young people bring. And I guess that is the top of your thinking, your ethos, which is beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? They're full of amazing, much more interesting and imaginative ideas than I am. You'd miss so much richness and wealth of creativity if you didn't. So I think,
absolutely,
it's a no-brainer.
And where can people find you?
If you just search macbirmingham.co.uk, Mac Makes Music is within the Mac website, or on Facebook and Twitter at Mac Makes Music, and Instagram is the same, I think, as well.
Yeah, great. Well, I'll put all the links into the show notes anyway. And maybe you can just send them to me again in an email so I can
of course,
remember them.
Yeah,
that'd be great. And I'll put everything up.
Amazing. I was going to say there's lots of clips on YouTube as well of music that the young people have made, and SoundCloud. So I'll send you those links.
Fantastic.
As well.
Yeah, as many as you can. I'll put them all up in the show notes. That'd be really great. One last question for you,
of course,
which I ask everybody, is who do you know who I should speak to next?
Oh, that's a very good question. Claire Cook, Chief Exec for Soundabout. She's fantastic. Been doing a lot of work and advocacy work, supporting young people and adults with profound and multiple learning disabilities to have really high quality, meaningful opportunities to make music. She's been doing really, really brilliant stuff there.
Great. Well, I mean, that's an area very close to my heart. That's kind of the area I kind of work in a lot. So that'd be great. So could you send me those details privately, and that'd be wonderful. Well, that's Holly. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Really lovely to speak with you, and have a great summer with all the music.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you.
You too. I was talking with Holly Radford-James from Mac Makes Music, based at the Midland Arts Centre